Sisters and brothers, one of the most painful experiences in life is the trauma of being rejected. The pain becomes more intense when the rejection is from one's own family. And if this traumatic experience happens during our childhood, it will impact our personality for the rest of our life. And yet it's a very common experience. We all like to seek the nice experience of approval and acceptance, and not the painful experience of rejection. But in reality, in our lives, being imperfect and living in an imperfect family, imperfect church, imperfect society, it is inevitable that we do experience rejection in one way or another, in big or small ways. You apply for a job in a company and was rejected. You try again in another company and then another company, and finally you found a company which accepted you. We are once saying Saint Joseph Cupertino. At first, he applied to join the Capuchins, but he was rejected for the simple reason of his poor health. You're not healthy, you're very sickly. You apply to join the seminary, then you might not be accepted, you have to be healthy. He then applied to join the Franciscans conventure, and he was accepted. And later, he became a saint, Saint Joseph Cupertino, the saint well known for elevation. He celebrates the body will be elevated, can fly. So rejections and approval, there are many. And we might not be aware of that too. So today, we hear of the rejection of Joseph and Jesus. Joseph's brothers, out of jealousy, plotted to kill him and eventually sold him for 20 pieces of silver. In the gospel parable, Jesus is the Son of God. He was rejected and killed by his own people. However, rejection is rarely permanent. For example, Joseph should have ended up as an obscure slave of Egypt. Instead, God was behind the whole drama in order to save his people from famine. It is part of the loving, mysterious plan of God. We think we are in control of events. No, God was in control. We are only his instruments. Of course, that is faith. I'm speaking of the level of faith and also trust in divine providence. Jesus should have ended up as an obscure, crucified criminal. Instead, God raised him from the dead, and he saved his own people. So, sisters and brothers, when we experience rejection, big or small little ways, and failures, in fact, all events of life, whether pleasant or unpleasant, are we able to believe that nothing can frustrate God's plan for us? Are we able to believe that these are God's means for our purification, for our growth and sanctification? As Christians, we only seek to grow, to become more and more like Jesus, more Christ-like, to bear good fruits, to bear the good fruits of the Spirit, of humility, gentleness, charity, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, and not those sour bad fruits of anger, resentment, and vengeance, violence. When we speak of violence, not necessarily physical violence, violent in our words, and before that, violent in our thoughts, words, and then comes out in our behavior. In the first reading, the brothers could not say a civil word to him, a civil word, a polite word, a nice word. So, sisters and brothers, remember the words of Jesus when he warned the disciples, the last Friday's reading. If your virtues do not go deeper than the scribes and the Pharisees, you can never enter the kingdom of heaven.